Hey guys, Alicia Wright with eXp Realty,
Gene Agustin with the Lending Collective.
and we're bringing you 52 topics
Yep.
for the next 52 weeks.
Yes.
And last week we had a time where we talked about property taxes.
Tax.
We introduced some information for those of you who are not familiar with property taxes and for those who got your property tax bill. But today we are going to talk about how we buy up or downsize. So do you buy first or do you sell first?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about today.
I love this because no one really talks about this, right?
Yeah,
This is an issue that comes up all the time, but no one has really sat down and explained like the pros and cons of,
Right.
should I buy first?
I mean, we do with our clients individually.
Yeah.
But like, I think this will be a helpful resource for those of you because no doubt, home buying is a stressful process, and it is our job to shoulder that stress, to take on the brunt of it, so that you can have an experience that is, not stress free, but less stress, right? So,
Yeah, I think like someone who owns a property now
yes,
that has to sell, then also buys. It's like double the pressure.
it is.
Versus if I'm just buying, I'm only focused on that one thing. So,
right. So we spend a lot of time talking about our first-time home buyers, but today we want to address those of you who are thinking about moving. So either moving to a different neighborhood that you've been looking at for a while, maybe you're downsizing you're empty nesters, your kids are in college now. But do you buy first or sell first?
Yeah.
When this is the way it normally works. If you find a property, you want to put an offer on it. You have something that maybe you've heard about before called contingency periods.
Yes.
Okay. And there's, I'm not going to get into all of them because that will take way too long for this one video. But if you buy a house and you need the proceeds from your other house, then you have to write a contingent offer. It's contingent upon the sale of your other property.
Yes.
So,
and then on the loan side, our approval will be contingent.
Yes.
So it's a conditional approval contingent on the sale of the property.
Right, because some people can afford to own both houses and qualify for both houses, but most of us, we don't qualify for both houses.
I would say majority of the client base I work with, they can qualify for one mortgage.
Yes,
and
most people.
Yeah, and
one mortgage.
It does become a dilemma, and that I think is why a lot of buyers our move-up buyers are hesitant to put their house on the market,
right?
Because of that fear of like I'm not going to be able to find something before I sell, and vice versa, right?
Here are the main fears that I see. They don't want to put their house on the market because they don't want to be out of house and home. The options are, if you sell your house first, you arrange a rent back. If your buyer is okay with it, you can rent back for a number of days until you close on another property. But that really puts the pressure on you finding that property. And if you have some specific needs, if you're like very easygoing and you like all kinds of properties, maybe that's not a bad plan. But most people have like specific wants and needs, and it will put pressure on you to find a property, maybe potentially before you're even ready.
Yeah.
You might be identifying a property to purchase because you're stressed about where to go. So that's one of the pressures of selling first. The other one is, if you sell first and you can't get a rent back, what do you do? Where do you go?
Yeah. And then you got to move it
you move to an apartment, you move to an interim place until you find another place, and then all of those months you're spending on rent, could be going towards your mortgage. Then you got to put your stuff in storage. If you move to an apartment, it's a whole thing. Maybe you move with family and then you don't want to talk to each other after that. So if you buy first, there's also some pressures associated with buying first, right? Gene, what do you see in those kinds of situations?
I mean, you've got the pressure of like.
What do you hear people say?
I mean, just the fear of like having to carry both mortgages.
Yes,
right.
That is what I hear.
Yeah,
people are scared. They're like, "What if I don't sell my other house?
Yeah.
How can I? What if I don't want to bankrupt myself in this process?
Yeah.
Right? And that's why that's the number one reason I hear most people not open to a buying before you sell situation. But the truth is, it's actually kind of less stress. It's actually less stress to buy before you sell because of Gene, you have an amazing buy before you sell program, right?
Yeah.
So
how
does it work? Explain it to people who don't understand it? Or if I'm the person that is stressed out about doing this, how would you ease my worries about doing a buy before you sell situation.
So a good example is clients that we have right now, right?
Yeah.
She's been looking with you for a
Few
couple of
weeks.
months or a few weeks.
Yeah.
And knowing that in the back of her mind, she still has this property that she has to unload.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I sat with her the other day, I proposed our buy before you sell program.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works is we get you approved for the house that you're purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
Our investor, and there's multiple options, but I'm
Yeah.
going to go over her situation.
Okay.
Our investor will give her some equity from her property
Yeah.
that she could use as a down payment towards a new purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of their programs.
Mhm.
The second program that we're going to utilize is what they call a backup contract guarantee.
Okay.
What that means is they're going to submit a non-contingent offer to buy her house. So as long as we're doing a conventional loan on the purchase, Fannie Freddie says that a non-contingent offer on your departing residence,
Mhm.
we no longer have to hit you with that the PITI or the
Right,
mortgage payment or the
right.
liability.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning, I'm only going to qualify you for the house that you're purchasing because we're going to eliminate that property as if it was already sold. So from a
Okay.
qualifying perspective, it allows us to qualify for the house. It's not going to be condition or conditional approval
Right.
because we have a contingent offer on the departing residence.
Okay.
And the lender's also letting them tap into some of that equity to buy the house. I love this program because now, imagine instead of being, like focused or stressed out over selling and buying, I could just focus on finding the house that I want,
Yep.
closing in it on it,
Yes.
moving in,
Yes.
getting all comfortable and situated, and that allows you to turn around and then focus on just selling. So
Right. And how long do you have to sell your house?
180 days, so 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we look at average days on market right now, let's just say average days on market. It's about 45 days. Okay. And then an escrow period is typically 20 to 30 days.
Yep.
Okay. So if you find your buyer in the first 45 days and close in 30 days, you're well within those limits, right?
Yes.
Even if it takes you a couple months to find your buyer, a few months to find your buyer, you're still totally in the clear. And what happens, Gene, what happens if you don't sell your house in 6 months?
So after 6 months, the investor has to then purchase the property based on the contract that you had initially agreed on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's not a money grab. They're not trying to buy it at a discount. They have to legally they have to close on it.
Yes.
Assuming that the sellers still want to work with the realtor that's listing the property,
Mm-hmm.
the new owner, our investor, will continue that relationship. So let's say it's you, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to continue the relationship with you.
Yep.
If you sell it above and beyond what our investor purchased it from you,
Okay.
or from our clients,
Yeah.
they're gonna, whatever the rest is. So for example, let's just round out the numbers. If I bought it for 400 or my investor bought it for 4,
Mhm.
and then you turned around and sold it for 6,
Uh-huh.
the previous owner will get the money back minus whatever the carrying cost is.
Right. So they get the delta
They
between
get the delta.
the investor's
Yeah.
offer and the sale price.
Yes.
So the risk is minimal.
Yeah.
The risk is minimal because you will get like the borrower is going to get the money from
Yep.
the proceeds of their sale, whether they get it from the straight up sale
Yeah.
that I would help them with,
Yeah.
or through the investor's sale, they would get the proceeds immediately, right?
Yes.
And then they get the delta when it finally sells.
Correct. And
So-
and that's all in the contract. So the
Yes.
big concern with, one of my concerns was if I propose this for my clients,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that my sellers are protected
Yeah.
and they're not just giving away the
Absolutely.
property.
Yep.
So in the contract, it's specifically going to state after 6 months, we're going to buy it from you for X amount of dollars,
Right.
but whatever it ends up selling for above and beyond what we buy it for or the
Mhm.
investor buys it for,
Mhm.
they're going to get it back minus the carrying costs. And the
Right.
carrying costs are, for the type of risk that the investor is taking is very minimal.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I've seen when you sell first and you move to the interim location, I've had several people over the years, actually a number of them have done this over the years. I've found that the temptation to rent longer because you don't want to move again is there. The temptation to spend the money, the proceeds from your sale
Yeah.
on something else. You guys get new boats, new cars, all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then you don't have money to buy a house. So, you have to be very disciplined. and very focused on the plan, on, you know, to keep yourself on target for what you want to do.
Yeah, the worst thing is sell a property that you own and
then be stuck as a renter.
be stuck as a renter.
Oh my
And I've
gosh.
had clients that fell in that situation,
Right.
and you know, they're like, geez, we should have, you know, focused on buying, you know. And this is before this program, so that's why when this program got introduced,
Yeah.
I mean, a majority of my clients that own a property that are in that situation of either wanting to buy up or downsize, now this has become a real solution for them.
Yeah.
And again, it gets them just focused on one task. I mean,
Right.
imagine trying to focus on selling and buying at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
that is so stressful.
is.
I mean, even for us.
Let me explain how this goes
yeah.
sometimes, okay? Let's say you find a property that you like, Gene, and you put an offer on it, okay? And you write a contingent offer. This has happened, I can't tell you how many times. You write a contingent offer on it, and you're in escrow, you're getting inspections, you're excited, you're mentally moving in, and let's say you get a buyer on your contingent property right away.
Yeah.
Okay, let's even say you list your house for sale, you get a buyer, and you're in escrow.
Yep.
And then you put an offer on another property.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in escrow on your new property, your replacement property. You're going through the process. You're excited. You're getting inspections, and then your buyer doesn't qualify for the loan on your
Yes.
property. Or let's say your buyer gets inspections, and they're like, I think we want $50,000 in
Yeah.
concessions, and then you didn't plan for that, and you need that money to put towards your new property.
Yes.
Or your buyer just backs out for unknown reasons, which happens sometimes. So then you're in contract on another property, and now your house is back on the market. And you have now the days on the market tally on your contingent property has now gone up to, say, 20, 30, 40,
Yeah.
however, the clock is ticking. And the more days on the market you have, the lower the amount you're going to get in
It's a
purchase
domino
price.
effect. So,
Yeah, so
if the house I'm selling, you know, falls out of contract for whatever reason,
Yeah.
now that sale has an impact on the home that I'm trying to purchase. So
Right.
emotionally,
Yeah.
you're stressed out because, dang it, I didn't sell my house.
Right.
And now I'm stressed out because the house I'm trying to buy that I'm absolutely in love with
Yep.
may not happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I get it. Right?
In your 25 years of experience or more, how many times have you seen houses fall out of escrow?
I mean, if I'm not managing the buy side for my sellers, meaning I'm not working with the buyers,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crapshoot. It's
Right.
50-50, right?
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know about that much, but it happens a lot. And
yeah,
I see it a lot. You know, for whatever reason, the house falls out of contract. So
I mean,
then,
so one of the other clients I'm working with in the Bay Area, that situation happened. She was in contract. She's downsizing. She's in contract to buy a house that she's absolutely in love with. Thankfully, the sellers have been willing to work with her. She's fallen out of contract twice now on the house that she's trying to sell. I got introduced to her. I pitched this program, and we're getting ready to close in a couple of weeks.
That's
So, and she's not stressed about this home selling. Now she can just strategize with her agent to market the home effectively
Right.
versus stress selling, right?
Right. Well, and
Or
you
what do
know
you call
what?
that? Like
You're
you're
panic
panic selling.
panic
Yeah,
selling.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our hope for the people we love and care about and serve is that you would make the most money on both sides.
Yep.
You know, get good deals on the buy side and sell as much as you can on the sell side. You know, we don't ever want to see anyone in a bad place. So I personally would not recommend that program if I didn't think it was a good deal for buyers and sellers. I mean, I had a listing in Gold River like a couple years ago, and they're the sweetest, cutest couple. And we got a buyer, and the buyer was just putting their house on the market. So they were contingent on a property.
That's even worse.
I know.
Now it's like 4.
It's like triple contingency,
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah,
quadruple, because
yeah.
if
Oh,
that
geez.
buyer gets as a contingent offer, it's so much cleaner and I mean, we've had these buy before you sell programs out there before.
Yeah.
But this investor guarantee program that you
Yeah.
have is phenomenal.
And it's underutilized. I don't think.
I would say so.
Yeah, I don't think agents realize the power of
Right.
like just psychologically putting your buyer or your
Right.
client
Yeah.
in just a better mental headspace in terms of
Right.
like, okay, I can just focus on one task, which
Yeah.
is now buying.
Right. And I mean,
Close,
yeah.
move in,
yes.
and now our attention shifts to just selling.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. Uh-huh.
if I were selling right now, I mean, part of why it was Jen and I've been in this house for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Part of why I don't want to sell is because we've so much stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And I don't necessarily want to do an open house with all my expensive cigars and
Yep,
bourbon just
yep,
laying
yep,
around.
Yep.
And so, yeah, this program would be perfect for
Yeah,
us.
you're
because,
like many of our clients,
Yeah.
Who just, who don't, and also, most people have, like, if you've already owned a home, you have like some experience with this now under your belt, and you kind of know if you're going to move out of it, you know what you want to move into. You have goals, you have, dreams and ideas,
Yeah.
and you know what you're looking for this time more than you did the first time around. So when you find that one, it's not like it's not like there's only one of that kind, but when you find, it's hard to find the one that you really want.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and when you find it, and then have to go through all the stress, pain, money, time of losing it because you can't, because your buyer backed out. It's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah. So I wholeheartly agree with anyone who's selling to try at least have a consultation.
Yeah.
And talk about it. And any other things you think you can any other tips you think? I think we're gonna go through like formulating an offer at a different time, because I was thinking we could talk about that too. Like how to structure an offer, but that's like a whole other conversation for a whole other day.
Yeah. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week, maybe in a couple weeks we'll go over that. But what I would love for you all to do is, if you found this video helpful, like and subscribe to our channel, because we're building something here.
Yes.
We want to build, we're building together. We want to build with you. And the way to do that is to get the word out and share these videos. We have like an combined 50 years of experience. These are our field notes, so to speak.
Yes.
We've gone through the painful what nots to do enough times to be able to say, here's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah. We want to be a resource for you guys. So if this program or anything we were talking about is something that, like interests you,
Yep.
DM us, reach out to us. We'd love to connect. We're not trying to sell you on you using us. I mean, obviously we'd love for you to work with us, but even if we could just answer some basic questions for you guys, go over the nuts and bolts of this program.
Yep.
We'd love to be a resource and hopefully, help you buy a house before you have to sell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, guys, stay tuned for next week, and hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. How long was that? I can't even see that.